If you actually want something, you can have it. Now the question then would be, well, what do you mean by actually want? And the answer is that you reorient your life in every possible way to make the probability that that will occur as certain as possible. And that's a sacrificial idea, right? It's like, you don't get everything, but maybe you can have what you need. And maybe all you have to do to get it is ask. But the asking isn't a whim or today's wish. It's like, you have to be deadly serious about it. You have to think, okay, like I'm taking stock of myself. I'm going to manifest myself in the best possible manner in the world. I would like to do that. What would that be? Well, you're perfectly capable of thinking. You're perfectly capable of immense feats of imagination and dream and fantasy. What would happen if you consulted yourself about the best possible outcome for you?
How do I find my passion?
First and foremost, you need to cut out the bull crap. I mean, if you're not happy and you want to make something of yourself or you want something big to happen and you're out there, focusing on, playing too many video games, the Nintendo Wii, this, that, and the other thing, you've got to absolutely address that. And, I think that is a very, very big deal. I just think there's a lot of lip service out there, Rich. I just think people are saying, oh, I wish. You've got to do. And there's really no alternative to doing. And, that's what I think people need to recognize. I think that they have to absolutely positively recognize that the only way to succeed is to execute. And the only way to execute is by doing it after hours, because you've got responsibilities, right? You've got to pay the mortgage. You've got to pay your college tuition. These are all real things. And unless you come home and work till 2 o'clock in the morning, nothing's going to happen. And that's the bottom line.
You want to get better? Stop looking for a shortcut and go find your alarm clock. Find your discipline. And find your guts and your passion and your drive and find your will. Getting better isn't a hack or a trick or a one change that you need to make. Getting better is a campaign, an incessant fight that doesn't stop against weakness and against temptation and against laziness. It's a campaign of hard work. It's waking up early and going to bed late and grinding out every second in between. Every single day.
And we're dealing with some serious matters here. It's serious whether you win or lose. It's serious whether you succeed or fail. It's serious whether you've got a good future carved out for yourself or you do not have. I'm telling you, for things to get better, you got to get better. Don't ask for it to change out there. Ask for you to change here. Don't ask for a more favorable wind. We call that naive. Don't ask for better seed, better soil. This is the only planet you got. Take your harvest and all that comes your way with full responsibility. Don't complain.
Don't hide your delicate pride from the truth. Don't make excuses. Don't blame any other person or any other thing. Take ownership of your mistakes. Take ownership of your shortfalls. Take ownership of your problems. And then take ownership of the solutions that will get those problems solved. Take ownership of your job, of your team, of your future, and take ownership of your life. Lead yourself and your team and the people in your life. Lead them all to victory.
You need something to reach for. You don't have to put the bread in my mouth. Let me reach for it. This is your year of reach. This is your year to go on conquest. This is your year to do exploits. This is your year to break your routine and get away from your normal and get out of the box. This is your year to do exceedingly abundantly above. This is your year to do exploits. Reach for it. You need a conquest. Reach for it. You need a challenge. You need something that makes you get out of bed in the morning. Something that demands something of you. Something that will not allow you to wallow in your history, your agony, your disappointments, or your fears. You must have a conquest. It takes a while to come into your own. It takes a while to draw out who you are. The predicament that you are in right now does not define your destiny.
If you have an idea of what you want to do in your future, you must go at it with almost monastic obsession, be it music, the ballet, or just a basic degree. You have to go at it single-mindedly and let nothing get in your way.
As Václav Havel said, work for something because it is good, not just because it stands a chance to succeed. And this is something that I think a lot of people misunderstand. They think that the goal of their life is to identify something that'll work, to identify something that has the odds stacked in its favor, rather than to think about what matters, what's important. Because if something is important, if it speaks to you, if it's going to give resonance to your life, then it's worth doing, even if it's something that is almost guaranteed to fail. When something matters enough, regardless of the odds, it's worth engaging with, because even in the pursuit, you can find meaning. And as humans, one of the things that we hunger for most is purpose and meaning, but you can't have that purpose and meaning without the thing that you're pursuing be something that you believe to be worthwhile. So don't worry about whether or not it succeeds. Ask only about whether or not it's going to light you on fire. Ask only if in those dark moments that it will give you that sense of mattering to this world, that even in the failure, do you learn something about yourself? Do you see the truth that you matter, and that even as a single person, even as one individual, you can echo through this world. But that will never happen by pursuing something small. That will never happen by pursuing something simply because it can win. It will only happen by pursuing something that matters. And in that, if you pursue something that matters and you're able to get to the point where you can see it across the finish line, or at least advance it and make it a step closer to becoming real, in that we realize how societies really are transformed. In that, and trying the big, the impossible, dreaming that thing that nobody else is even willing to talk about. In dreaming that, it is the crazy ones who are able to change the world, because the crazy ones allowed themselves to believe. They allowed themselves to believe that against all the odds, a world that does not yet exist could actually exist. And as Ralph Marsden said, welcome those big, sticky, complicated problems. In them are your most powerful opportunities. And that's it. The big problems, the ones that matter, the things that will give you purpose and meaning in your life, they're going to be hard. But if you can look at the hard things and show up and push every day and keep striving, and when you fall down, pick yourself back up and focus only on one thing, not whether or not you're going to win, but whether or not it mattered that you played. If you do that, every sacrifice in your life will be worth it. And if not, nothing you gain will have mattered.
Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in the green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and learned too late they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men near death who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light.
As Michelangelo said, if people knew how hard I worked to achieve my mastery, it wouldn't seem so wonderful after all. And that's the thing about getting great. That's the thing about being an artist of such caliber that you're remembered for hundreds of years after your death. It is back-breaking work. It is a blinding amount of effort. It isn't about natural talent. That myth that some people are born with something that we celebrate so much is just that, a myth. You're born a lump of flesh, you can't hold your own head up. You may have predispositions, but that is a long way from actually crafting your ability until the point where it looks like magic. And that's the beauty of artistry, isn't it? That it's so unbelievable that you're more willing to believe that it was God-given, that they were anointed with it, than that they just worked their ass off. But the truth is, every one of the greats, no matter how much natural talent they were born with, they're remembered because they worked. They are remembered because they did so much work. Because in that work is hardship. In that work is difficulty. In that work is unbearable adversity. But it's in that adversity that the magic happens. And as Victor Hugo said, adversity makes men, prosperity makes monsters. So I know right now you wish you'd been born with some talent. You wish that all those dreams that you had, they were yours for the taking, that you didn't have to put blood, sweat, and tears into it, that somebody would hand you at least something in the beginning, that they would give you some start, some spark. That's where the monster's created. If you really want to get hard, if you really want to get tough, if you want to get great, if you want to be unfucking touchable because no one can bend or break your vision of yourself, then you have to suffer. That's the way of the world. And as Florence Nightingale said, I attribute my success to this: I never gave or took any excuse. And that's the secret. At the end of the day, if you know what you want, it's only a question of whether you're willing to pay the price to get there. So ask yourself, are you willing to pay the price? Because if you're willing to pay the price, you can have anything you want.
Are you the best footballer in the world right now?
I think so, yes. In my mind, I'm always the best. I don't care what the people are thinking, what they say. In my mind, not just this year, but always, I'm always the best. I'm always going to say that.
I knew what was going to happen. I knew I was going to get here. They didn't. There's a lot of stressful years, you know what I mean, a lot of tough times. But I proved them wrong. I proved myself right.
You need to bet on your strengths and don't give a about what you suck at. If you want this, if you want bling bling, if you want to buy the jets, if you want to do work.
When I look around, I always learn something, and that is to be always yourself and to express yourself, to have faith in yourself. Do not go out and look for a successful personality and duplicate him.
I feel I still have room to improve. I still set goals for myself to strive for. I'm never complacent with what I've achieved. Even though it's been very successful for me, I still feel I have a lot to prove.
Michael shakes the finger.
Ben Graham in his low teens looked around and he looked at the people he admired. And he said, you know, I want to be admired, so why don't I just behave like them? And he found there was nothing impossible about behaving like them.
If you're doing anything interesting in the world, you're going to have critics. The only way, if you absolutely can't tolerate critics, then don't do anything new or interesting. I would just say, go stand on a street corner and watch in a crowded urban area and watch all the people walk by and think about what they're thinking about. I bet you none of those people are thinking about you.
After years of repetitive work, you will often need to dig hard to find your passions, redefine your dreams, and revive hobbies that you let atrophy to near extinction.
You think someone's gonna come to you and give you a highlighted version, script on how to live your life? And if that was the case, would you even go that way? How boring is that? It's the unknown about to be that gets me up in the morning. It's always a challenge. And as soon as a challenge is lost, guys, your will is dead. There's no reason to get up in the morning.
There are a million reasons why not, but there's one great reason why.
Because before it was luck, it was a belief. And every day with no one watching at 5 in the morning by myself, I trained it because I believed in it. Then I mastered it. No, I remastered it in hopes that one day my trained ability collided with an opportunity to show it off. That's what luck is. That's what success is. Start to finish, a blueprint that every single module inside of it you create, you own. Nothing subjective in there. It's all you.
You don't just live in life, you change it. Shape it, you make your mark upon it.
Make a little money, make a little love, get a little help from the Lord above. Make a little money,
Cristiano Ronaldo. Beautiful.
make a little money, make a little love, get a little help from the Lord above. Make a little money, make a little love, get a little help from the Lord above. I don't want to make a scene.
You must strive to find your own voice, because the longer you wait to begin, the less likely you are to find it at all. Thoreau said most men lead lives of quiet desperation. Don't be resigned to that. Break out.
It's not about being rational, it's about following your heart.
You must be imaginative, strong-hearted. You must try things that may not work. And you must not let anyone define your limits because of where you come from.